Well, sea walls is definitely the flavour at the moment. Everyone's getting some done or whatever, and Daphne Caine is here, member for Garff, and talking about Laxey, and your meeting is tonight. We're recording this the day of, so it's really an overview, and we have got some pictures to go with it, just generalisation of Laxey. Over to you. What exactly are you proposing, wanting and wishing for?
We are purely there as a conduit for public views to be fed into us so that we can reflect that back to the department, who has asked for the public views on their revised plans for sea defences along Laxey Promenade and round the harbour. So
you don't have any particular view, you say?
No, we've been asked for the views. I mean, we have had an assurance from the DOI Minister, Mr Harmer, to say if Laxey really doesn't want this, then it won't be forced on the community. But the department is coming up with some very serious proposition about raising the height of the seawall along the promenade to protect the promenade behind it and the properties. They have revised their original plans in response to the public feedback. So there is a gap between the promenade and where the wall around the harbour would start to allow the water to naturally drain in that way back to the harbour. And they're proposing some floodgates across Tent Road. And I know there are some properties already that have their own floodgates along the promenade. The vast majority of people who've contacted me, letters and correspondence, emails, private messages on social media, from principally a lot of Laxey residents, but all island, there isn't much support for raising the height of the wall along the promenade.
That's interesting, because at the end of the day, they're only going to be put in to do a job, which is to keep the...
And it's based because of the evidence coming through from climate change, predictions of higher wave, higher tides, higher more incidents of overtopping and spring tides and weather events. So what was a once-in-a-lifetime weather event, we're going to get more frequent.
Well, we've got these pictures of it happening in Laxey. It just comes on in. I mean, what do people want? They want it flooding, or they don't want it flooding? I don't understand how they don't want it. Well, it's not what they like about it. I mean,
they don't like the wall. Now, the wall has sort of ramp access from one side. They're proposing raising the area behind the wall so that the seats on the promenade would be at the same height and able to look over the wall, the increased height. They're proposing increasing the rock armour that is in the corner that's on the harbour wall and the corner of the promenade. And it's all about trying to reduce the force of the waves that come over the current seawall. And there would also be some floodgates to go in the gap where the steps are, and it would decline so that it was flat around where the ramp goes down to the beach. But that's not enough. It is principally an area where many people over several generations have driven up and sat and enjoyed the view out to sea for year round.
I presume people living on the prom who have had their houses flooded probably want some sort of protection at some point. I mean,
some residents,
the insurance people would almost certainly say you need to have something, wouldn't you?
Residents along the prom, some of them have already got their own floodgates.
Yeah, right.
So, and I think the DOI is coming from, because there's quite a bit of support to say, why don't they put the wall on the far side of the prom, protect the properties, and I think the word from the DOI was, but we're also protecting the highway and obviously people using the highway. A lot of suggestions to me include, why don't they reduce the height of the beach? Why don't they remove the stones from the beach, the pebbles, and that would solve the problem or mitigate it over a long period of time. So there's much to debate at the public meeting tonight, and we're very happy that we've got a representative of the Department of Infrastructure coming, Kate Lord-Brennan MLC, along with a couple of officers, and they have promised us a frequently asked question and answer fact sheet that we will be distributing there this evening, hopefully too. And
you'll just take that as your opinion, will you? Your guide will be what that room says, which doesn't necessarily be a representative.
We need to be better informed. We need to have the facts before us. I mean, DOI aren't coming up with this out of the air. They're basing it on scientific climate change facts and saying these are the likely events and this is how we protect the area. But the wall around the harbour is a lot less controversial, although it seems quite high at particular points. It's the sloping away levels around it. It's less intrusive. They're also allowing now that the revision has got it away from the actual side of the harbour, so there's still room to tie up your boats and walk around inside the new wall. A lot less controversial, a lot more people neutral about that, but wanting to know what are the options for the promenade.
I mean, I'm putting you on the spot here, but do you think something has to be done?
I think something could be done and it would mitigate the risk of the significant weather events, but they're going to happen anyway, and according to their own scientific survey, the wall would need to be higher than 1.2 metre, that's 4 foot, to meet the needs of what their own predictions.
Right.
But
So it's
I
not
think
enough.
they knew they wouldn't get any higher than 1.2 metres out, so they've gone for 1.2. Will that really achieve what they want to achieve? And it has to be balanced against the loss of amenity.
And if it's like Douglas is saying, the council there is saying we'd like it more pretty.
Well, it's a blank concrete wall.
You'd like something a bit more
Somebody's
work
done a
around.
mock-up about the Laxey one. I think there could be more artistic impressions of how it's going to appear. Now, they have provided that in a small way, and those will be up for debate at this evening's meeting.
And how much say will you have into the input? Will they go ahead technically regardless of you, or will you? Can
They
you block
are
it?
awaiting the community response. So we're working with the commissioners. We hope to see a few commissioners and the clerks along this evening. And Martin Perkins, who's arranged the meeting at the Pavilion this evening, myself and the commissioners will be channeling all our information, all the public feedback, and also public can make their views known directly. All that goes back to the department, and then the department will decide what is their way forward, preferred way forward.